The latest there coming in seems to suggest that everyone on board sustained injuries. That is what the CISF ADG just told us. CISF is responsible for the security at airports. I want to cut across back to my colleague Gopi. Gopi, over to you.
Well, Preeti, as CISF ADGP was also mentioning, all the people who were actually on board this flight have been located, and unfortunately 19 of them have lost their life. But nevertheless, the remaining people have been shifted to the hospital. But one takeaway point, or one important point, that is actually a huge relief, is that the extent of casualty has remained very low. We actually have the example of the Mangalore accident, and the situations were more or less same in both these areas. Both Mangalore and Calicut are having tabletop runways. Even in Mangalore, the flight shot of the runway, and it actually fell into a valley. And what I believe has actually acted in the advantage is that the sources are telling us that the pilots, they must have assumed, or they must have got a sense that this is not going to be an easy landing, and they seem to have switched off the engines. That could be one reason. Even after falling from such a huge depth, the aircraft did not catch fire. There wasn't any visible smoke. Even in the initial images that we actually got from here, when people came here, it actually made it very easier for the people to get inside the aircraft. So that is what we actually experienced during most of the accidents. Whenever there is an air accident, the aircraft, it might just catch fire very easily. So even if there are people who are inside, who are not really seriously injured, they might not be in a situation to come out because the rescuers cannot reach there because of the fire. But in this accident, fortunately, that has not happened, and I believe that has acted as a huge advantage, which made very easy for the people to just run into the aircraft, run from all possible openings which were actually available over there. They just ran inside. They started grabbing and dragging people outside the aircraft, and actually I was just speaking to one of the persons. He has actually rescued 37 people, and he was actually pointing out at the fact that every year the Airports Authority of India and this airport in Karipur has been carrying out a mock drill of similar accidents. Because this has been a tabletop airport, they have been conducting a mock drill, and the locals from the area were allowed to take part in the mock drill, and many people were telling me that their experience in handling and working out in that mock drill has really helped in at least taking out or dragging people out from that aircraft.
You know, Gopi, it says a lot. It says really a lot about the administration there, because if the locals have participated today because of those mock drills which were conducted, then many lives have been saved. Gopi, I want to come to you for one last time. Would you just get us, get your cameras to pan a bit? Can you actually show us the area where this incident took place?
Well, Preeti, right now, as you see in the visual, this is where the aircraft is lying at the moment. And as you can see in the visual, the aircraft has been split into two. It's not actually equal halves. The front portion is actually the area that includes the cockpit and some area close to the cabin use area. Because in aircraft, in front and back, you have the area which will be handled by the cabin crew. And remember, this was actually an Air India Express flight, and there will be a designated cabin area both up front and behind. And that area has broken apart and has been separated from the rest of the aircraft. And we believe this must have come sliding down some 50 meters from the runway, and we were actually experiencing very severe weather over here. And the last available flight data, that is actually an open source data in which we can track the flight path of an aircraft for at least 2-3 days. And that actually shows that the flight has made multiple attempts to land over here, but because of the severe rain, they could not really do that, and it actually had to go around one or two times. And I believe it was the third attempt that they finally decided to try out and land. And even as they were landing, the pilot, it seems he must have actually understood that they are not going to run short of the runway, or actually they might just overshoot the runway. And subsequently, this unfortunate incident has happened where the plane, it seems it has glided down towards this valley, which is also in the airport compound. And the reason why I believe it must have glided down is because the aircraft, it has been split into two pieces, but most of the remaining areas remains almost intact. So if it was actually a direct fall, then the impact could have been more severe. It could actually be because of the slide, because there is actually a slope towards this area. because it has slided down, the impact has
Right.
actually been minimal. Or else we actually have the examples of many such accidents
Yes.
where the people, at least 80% of the passengers would suffer casualty. But fortunately, nothing of that sort has happened over here at the moment.